Imagine how convenient it would be if you had a perfect memory, where you could just extract information to solve a problem or win an argument. Think Inception minus the illegal part.
Then you break in and steal it.
Well, it's basically impossible. But the cool part is that we can actually build something similar called a second brain. And unlike your first brain, the second brain will never forget any information. It has perfect memory, and whatever you put into it, you won't lose. You will always be able to extract again. As I'm sure you can imagine, the ability to manage the constant stream of information coming at us is a massive advantage in creativity and productivity, basically every aspect of your life. Sign me up, right?
Dude, there is no way that is possible.
What are you talking about? I literally do this all the time. I mean, like 2 days ago, I was talking with a friend of mine. Man, I remember this thing that I wrote down in my second brain like 2 years ago. And within 5 seconds, I pulled it up, like exactly word for word, the quote that I had written down. Like, it's possible, and it's really, really cool, and it works really well if you do it right. We're gonna see if we can figure out how to build and use a second brain in less than 10 minutes. Let's get started. To build a second brain, we first have to know what a second brain is. So a second brain is an environment where you store information for you to do your best work, whether it be creativity, productivity, or anything else that you need to use it for. And a key distinction is this is not a filing system like most, where you find a cool article on beans and you put it in the garden category. It's like, not quite. Like a personal library or assistant in your pocket, it's a place where you can extract and retrieve any information that you put into it within seconds. Now this is very, very important because it's time for us to choose an app or software to build this second brain inside of. And most note-taking apps will work just fine, but there are 3 criteria that it needs to fall into. The first one is that it must be organized with pages, folders, subfolders, etc. Second one is that it must be searchable. You need to be able to search by keywords or phrases or pages, that sort of thing. The third thing is that it needs to be cross-platform, meaning that it will sync between your devices. And I'm just seeing here, there's only like 1 or 2 options, really. Just kidding, there's like 57,000. My personal, completely biased opinion is that Notion is superior to all the other note-taking apps, so I will be using that one. You can use a different one as long as it fits those 3 criteria. Now that we have a super sleek, clean, and beautiful Notion page to work with, we can move into the first step, which is capture, selecting information for your second brain. This is where most people go wrong with a second brain. Let's say that I'm reading a book and I find something and I want to save it into my second brain. So I open up my phone and instantly I'm bombarded with having to make a bunch of decisions as to where this thing that I just found fits. Do I need to make a new page, or is it go in this page or this folder or this category? Where does it go? It's very inconvenient and it causes a lot of friction. And before long, you'll be dreading the idea of putting anything into your second brain. Here's why that doesn't work and a creative solution. It doesn't work because when you first encounter an idea, that is the worst time to figure out where to put it. You need time to think about it and mull it over and actually decide, is this something I want to keep? And organize and sort it later on after you've had time to think about it. The solution to this is we want to create something called a quick capture, or a secondary location, where we grab information and we just dump it all inside of there, and then later we come back, revisit, and sort and organize it, which is what we'll do in the next step. For me personally, I've been doing this for quite a while with just leaving a notes tab open on my phone, just leaving it blank, and whenever I grab any information, I just swipe over onto my notes tab, write it in there, and move on. Capturing is relatively useless unless we combine it with the second step, which is organize, how to sort the information captured. Here's where you take all of the delicious insights and morsels that you have captured and you figure out how to place them and organize them in a space for you to do your best thinking with. Otherwise, it'll become this big swirling mess of information, and the more that you add to it, the bigger the problem gets and the harder it is to find anything. Our brain isn't just a tool, it's an environment. And the key is to organize for action. And this is where 99% of note takers get stuck. I'll give you an analogy. Think about a kitchen. The items that are most often used are within easy reach. It's organized for action, not by category. We do this with a system called PARA, Projects, Areas, Resources, and Archives. PARA can handle everything, regardless of your occupation or your field, for one specific reason. It organizes information based on where it's going, not where it came from. Let's hop into our second brain. First, let's create these 4 pages and then we will look at how this works. Projects. Short-term efforts in your work or life that have clear beginnings and endings. You know when they are completed, finalized, published, etc. These can be projects at work, such as complete web page design, create slide deck for a conference, or develop a project schedule. It could also be something like personal projects, such as remodel the bathroom, vacation to the Bahamas, upcoming holiday plans, or a vehicle purchase, such as title transfer, insurance, history of vehicle, etc. The next one is areas, which is long-term responsibilities that you want to manage over time. Not everything is a project with an end completion date. Take something like finances or product development, life goals, or exercise. None of these have clear end dates, but they're still things that we have in our lives and we take action on. And even though they don't have an end date, it's still very important that we still manage them. Resources are topics or interests that may be useful in the future. Think of resources as a catch-all for anything that doesn't fit into projects or areas. These can be topics like topwater bass fishing, future house plans, creativity and arts, or it could be, subjects that you're researching, like fingerstyle guitar picking, how to create a second brain, or something random like Spanish language learning. The key is to store important information so that we can refer to it if we ever need it in the future. The last folder is archives, which are inactive items from either of the 3 categories. Inevitably, you will finish a project or lose interest in a hobby, or perhaps your responsibilities at your job changes. When that happens, we want to remove the clutter without completely deleting the information. And we do that by simply moving it to archives. Think of archives as like cold storage for information. Notice how it organizes by action, with projects at the top and archives at the bottom. Setting up these folders is relatively easy, but what strikes fear into the heart of every organizer is the question, where do I put this? Here we have a handy dandy checklist that we can use to organize information. First, ask yourself, in which project will this be most useful? If none, which area will this be most useful? If none, which resource does this belong to? If none, place in archives. Oh my goodness, there's no way we can do this in 10 minutes. Now the process is to go through your quick capture on a daily or weekly basis and take all the information and place it into your second brain based on where it's going, not where it came from, as you remember from the kitchen analogy. For example, information on, say, interior designing could be placed in the project of, bathroom remodeling and or inside of future house plans. Or notes from a business seminar could be spread between finances, work communication, and business analysis. I have no idea if that was under 10 minutes or not, but I'm just gonna kind of assume and hope that it was. Here's the thing, despite my best ability to consolidate and condense information for you, I definitely had to leave things out. For example, capture and organize show you how to build a second brain, but the last 2 of the 4, which are distill and express, teach you how to use a second brain. You may not even need the last 2. I personally think the first 2 are more important, but just in case you do, I at least want to make them available to you. To do that, the first 5 people that click the link down in the description will get free access to my entire Skillshare class about how to build a second brain. I go way more in depth there, and I give lots of examples and walk you through step by step. Here's how you do this, from information from quick capture all the way through the whole system. If you're not one of the first 5 people to get the class for free, but you still want to watch it, Skillshare is actually offering 1 month of free membership, like premium membership, if you use my link down in the description. You'll get a guaranteed free trial and unlimited access to literally tens of thousands of free premium classes.